My name is Garret Howard. I came in here to Healing Properties January 12th, 2009, and I came in through Father Martin's Ashley in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm 21. I was 19 when I came down here. I got introduced to Oxycontin, Xanax, all types of pills, alcohol, and it just ruined my life. I started doing it 10th grade, high school, and doing it for about four and a half years, and got to the point where I was miserable. I was waking up every morning dope sick, stealing, robbing anybody who came pawn shop every day, and it led me to get arrested. Big fight with my family, got in a fight with my dad, violence. I just got a lot of different charges, caught a second-degree felony charge, and I've never been in jail before, never had any problems with the police or law, and they just ruined my life, brought me down, and I went to jail, and I was looking, like they said, 1 to 3 years with all my charges, and luckily I got out of jail early to go to Father Martin's, and did a month there. I loved it, but my first, and I never knew anything about AA or the program, and they introduced me and they sent me down here. I had two choices, go back to jail. I couldn't go back to, stay in Maryland, couldn't go home, so my parents had it with me, and they sent me down here.
Well, my name is Nick. I'm an alcoholic and drug addict. My drug of choice is cocaine, Xanax, alcohol, opiates, pretty much whatever I could get. But my experience was kind of like Garret said. I started using drugs at a young age. Right about when I got into high school, a little before, jumped right in pretty heavy, and right off the bat started stealing from my family, my friends, manipulative. I really didn't have any other purpose in life but to get high and to drink. And somewhere around a little after I graduated high school was when I got a DUI and went to rehab for the first time. I went to Miramont in Lima, PA, and I thought I learned a lot in there the first time, but I thought was that I could just drink. So I got out, and that's when I started drinking heavily, and that's where I came to the realization that I was also an alcoholic, and I jumped right back into the drugs, and it didn't last long, probably another year before I went to hit my real bottom, waking up every morning wishing that I hadn't woken up, or couldn't even look myself in the mirror or anybody in the eyes. Like, that's where it brought me to robbing, stealing, breaking into houses, pretty much just being as low as you could, or as low as I thought I could go. So what I did was I went back to that same treatment center, Miramont in Pennsylvania, and this time I just, as soon as I walked in there, I said, whatever happens here, don't send me home. And my experience was in treatment that, I met with a friend who I knew back in school, and he showed me a pamphlet to this place, Healing Properties, and it seemed unrealistic for me to come down here. It seemed like somebody doing what I was doing, that there wouldn't be like anybody willing to help me to send me down here. So I was going to go somewhere in Philadelphia, and at the last minute I decided to bring up to my parents this place, and immediately they were like, absolutely, get out of here, let's see, we have no other options really. So I came down here June 11th, 2009. I was 18, getting ready, about to turn 19.
I liked it when I came down here. Everyone was really nice. I was still intimidated. I've never lived on my own before. This was a first thing for me. I didn't I graduated high school, never went to college, so this was my first time ever living on my own. My parents were real worried about me. Like, they had it with me, but they were just worried, just because I still was in the wrong mind state, just with the whole addiction thing. I hadn't changed at all. I still thought drugs and alcohol were still really cool when I came down here, and I was just kind of telling people, leading people on, telling people what they wanted to hear still. But and it led me to relapse when I first got down here, and that's what I liked about Healing Properties, because you guys don't put up with that. It's a clean environment. It's your choice to live here. It's a privilege to live here, and if you're gonna break that rule, if you don't want to change the way you're living, I got kicked out and was homeless for 8 days, and that really woke me up. It's really I hit my one bottom. I had no one. I didn't want to get high anymore. and I came back here every single night, take a drug test, and you guys saw that I wasn't using out there, and I got back in, and that's when I really decided to take this seriously and got a sponsor I became real close with, and that's when I started learning I could have fun in sobriety, and it was just awesome. I've had more laughs here in sobriety than I've ever had in my life, ever.
Who was your first property manager?
Mike Mason.
How was that?
Intimidating a little bit, but he was a really good guy. All the property managers, everyone here is just so welcoming. That's what I've always liked. You know, my whole life I was hanging out with kids, people my age, no one older than me, and now there's just no one judges, with age. No one looks down upon anyone else. We're all the same. That's what I like the program so much. No one, everyone's the same. Everyone's equal. Got the same problem. Everyone's trying to better themselves.
June 11th, 2009 is when I came down here. I got out of treatment, I think like 3 days before, and I actually sat at home for like 3 days, didn't use or anything. But I mean, I was scared. That's all I could feel was fear. You know what I mean? But all I know is I just wanted to stop doing what I was doing. I was willing to do whatever it took, and coming down here was a huge step for me. Like Garrett said, like I never lived on my own before. I always wanted to, and coming down to do it on my own, I wasn't too excited because I wasn't going to be living the way that I wanted to and that I was using. But when I first got here, it wasn't that great. Just because like I was still afraid. It took me a little bit to come out of my shell, but my first impression coming here, sitting down at the table with the manager at the time, was that I needed to get a sponsor and I needed to work the steps through the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And those two things stuck, so that's pretty much what I focused on doing at first. I mean, everybody was real welcoming to me. I thought it was going to be a bunch of assholes, really, a bunch of drug addicts and alcoholics, all trying to get sober or whatever. I just thought it was going to be a bunch of the worst kind of people in the same place. So I was nervous, but as soon as I walked through the gate, everybody was real welcoming, immediately fed me, things like that, took me in, and I mean, that meant that was huge for me. It was like a security thing, and after a little longer time being here, you notice that people were doing the right thing, and if they weren't there anymore, and that was real important to me. I was afraid I was coming into a place where people were smoking crack in the bathroom, and I had to sleep with all my belongings under my pillow at night, and that wasn't the case. So I mean, like I said, when I first came down here, everything. Within the first week I started realizing this is probably where I should be right now. So I just did what was suggested of me, and that was get connected with the people around me, and all 90 meetings, 90 days, that whole thing, and I did it, and that's what I focused on at first. I was so beaten up before I came down here that my main intention wasn't to come down and chill on the beach or make a bunch of friends. My first thing was to just stop getting high. So I mean, that was my experience with first coming in.
Was it hard to get a job?
Yeah, that was one of the hardest parts. Like down here in the summer, walking around, but I was just so willing to do whatever it took, and at the same time going through the steps and all that stuff. Like I just kept pushing, kept being persistent. I mean, I went through like a couple telemarketing jobs. Barely paid rent. I mean, if it weren't for my parents helping me out, they did help me out a lot too. But I wanted to cut them ties off with the money and all that real quick. So that's what I did. I worked 2 jobs for a little bit. When I finally got them, it took me a little bit, but now I'm in one of the jobs I got. I'm in full time, getting paid, overtime, all that, making pretty decent money for enough to support myself.
For me, honestly, it wasn't that hard to find a job. There's so many people down here in recovery that, I mean, I didn't have to do it in the summertime. I came down in season, so there were a lot of places hiring, and I got lucky with my job. It's, basically everyone that works there is in recovery. I found out it's a sales job, and I found out like that's what I like to do. That's what I want to do the rest of my life. And I love it. It just, again, everyone's just looking out for everyone else. It's a safe environment. I love working in this town. It's a vacation town. I like it a lot. The job wasn't that bad. I am project manager at Coast to Coast Publishing. I have my own business cards. We came down here. You got it 6 months after me, and just met right here in the courtyard.
Yeah.
And we weren't that close.
Not until like I think the second time he came.
Yeah, it was after I came back here, and we lived together in the senior house, and we just became real good friends through rock band.
Through what?
The video game rock band. Bringing us close together.
Yeah, no, that's